Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. We are still at I almost said Hunt Suburbia, but yeah, I was like, damn, no, that's
all day.
Yeah. Well, we're at Huntstock, put on by Hunt Suburbia, Mr. Pat. We can't thank those guys enough for letting us do this. We actually decided that it was probably a good idea that we podcast in our booth because we haven't done very much podcasting.
Well, it's been a little bit busy.
Well, things have been definitely nuts.
It's been crazy, for sure.
Yeah, I know. It probably has, right? We did the live podcast this morning, and then I guess today is the day of podcast. So we decided that we would get the boys from New England Adventures and come down and join us. So this is your boy East Coast Trev, and
this is Steve.
And we got the boys from New England Adventures. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Nate, president of New England Adventures, and we got my
name
Dave
tag.
McBee. I'm a board member.
Nate, I thought that you were going to talk for him. Poor guy.
No, I was going to pass it. To him.
All right. So why don't we break it down, man? Why don't you tell us exactly what New England Adventures is and what they do?
So we have been around about 8 years, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We take veterans, current service members, and their families on all expense paid outdoor adventures throughout New England for outdoor therapeutic healing. No cost to the veteran or their family. Anywhere from moose hunts to bear hunts, deer hunts, fishing trips, striper out on the Cape, shark fishing, tuna fishing, sea duck, pheasant, camping, whitewater rafting, you name it. Snowmobiling we did up in Maine, guys. I mean,
skiing in Vermont.
Yep. Fly fishing, just any kind of outdoor activity you could think of, and we're open to change. We change our schedule yearly. We open any kind of idea, and we pay their way, so they don't have to, and they can enjoy the outdoors and kind of get more of a healing going on.
That's
self-healing. Yeah,
that's incredible. Where did this all start? Where did this idea come from that you were going to start this organization and do something like that?
So where it came from was we needed an out. Like I always was on Wounded Warrior Project looking, and they always had hunting trips out west, or they had hunting trips here, and then the idea snapped where it was like, all right, these guys go on this trip and then they get cut off and then they just sent back to their house, and it's like, why not bring multiple people in from an area, say New England, right? And combine them together, have them share their military relationships with each other as well as the outdoors and stuff you like. So like if you like fishing, I can bring you tons of vets that are going to be fishing, and then they're going to be talking together, and then they're going to be making friendships, and then they're going to be going fishing with each other.
Right.
And so it's kind of almost like bringing veterans into this community of outdoorsmen to just kind of have a bond of both the outdoors and service to the nation. And I think that's huge in the healing process for just someone that's, say, been in their basement for 5 years,
right,
or doesn't want to get out, or
right,
or is just mentally suffering with invisible wounds, not just physical. But I feel like, and that's where the idea popped in, and that's where it came from. And then we just took off from there, man. I took over the president about 5 years ago, and it's just blown up since.
That's incredible, man. And one of the questions I always have, because we've done a couple of different podcasts with a couple of different veteran groups, and one of the questions that I have is like, how do people that aren't veterans get involved to help out this type of organization to kind of get them involved too? Because I think there's a lot of people that listen to our podcast that may not be veterans, but they want to give back to that community. What is something that they can do to kind of help out your organization?
So we're always looking, obviously, donations. We're always looking for any kind of outfitter or any kind of, say, guide who's willing to donate their time and help us out. We're always looking. We got a website, newenglandadventures.org, Facebook and Instagram, and we always put out. There's a volunteer form. We got a tab. You can go up and scroll down and click on the volunteer form, fill out your info, let us know what you're all about, what you want to do. And we're always willing. We got PayPal, Venmo. I mean, cash is always king too.
Right.
And if you're a bigger donor, we're a certified 501c3, so it's a tax write-off for your business or whatever you want. And we can set something up that way too.
That's cool.
It's it's really important that other people get involved too. It shows, Americans care still about the guys.
And that's what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that there is a lot of Americans that care for the people that have done the service. Like myself, I'm not a veteran, but it's something that I would volunteer my time or whatever to try and help out, whatever the case may be. And I think there's many people out there that, like they hear the podcast with people that have these organizations with veterans, but how do they get involved? It's nice to hear about it, but what do they do to be able to help out and give back to the servicemen and women?
Even if you guys say someone wants to go shed hunt, hit me up on the email and I can find some veterans in Maine. My outreach for veterans, we got tons and tons of veterans on just following us now, and I try and expand that even further. We got guys all the way out in Michigan. Taking a guy in Michigan up Zone 3 and moose hunting.
Right.
But just hit me up and say you're going to go shed hunt and take a walk in the woods. Bring a couple vets with you if you want.
Yeah, see, that's something we had talked to. I don't know if you guys know who House of the Woods is in Maine, and they're talking about doing something like that. And they asked if I would bring up the dog and help them out and kind of point them out or something like that. But I mean, I think there's a ton of people that are similar to my outlook that would do something like that, to put the time together and do something like that.
I think that's great, man.
Yeah. No, I think the organization is really cool. Do you find that how do you reach people because I know there's a lot of veterans that may not even talk about a lot of the stuff that they have going on, because I know that they might have something going on in their head and they're not going to outlook, because obviously men, they're very stubborn people, and they don't.
We're not.
No.
They don't like to share their feelings too much,
But you hear the stories of guys that, like myself, the gentleman that I work for, Captain Seth, he was a Marine and he had a good buddy that he served with over there, and they hung out a ton. They went to a hunting camp together, and 2 weeks later his buddy committed suicide and nobody even knew anything would happen. So how do you try to connect with people that are those veterans but are on the outreach side?
Can I jump on that?
Yeah, you can.
Veterans don't tend to talk a lot about what's going on with civilians.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a hunter talking to a non-hunter. It's just the person's looking at you like you're stupid.
Right.
And that's the way, at least for myself, that I feel, and I'm sure you feel this way too, that talking about these experiences, you only really talk about it with other veterans.
Right.
Absolutely. You're the only person, and it's usually that time. Like, I had a guy at deer camp last year who came up to me, Ryan Scott. I'm sorry if I can't say his name on here, but Ryan Scott came up to me and he said, "Dude, I just wanted to say, thank you for being you." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Man, there's so many connections that I've had just from listening to you." And he goes, and he's tearing up and I'm fucking crying,
right.
You know what I mean? And it's just those kinds of things. I mean, that's what makes this program what it is.
Right.
I mean, I still talk to everybody I met at camp. Everybody. The first time I went to camp. We still have relationships. We still have numbers, and I still send, happy birthdays and Merry Christmases and you name it. And it's that
community.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've realized, being a civilian on the outside looking in, and obviously, talking to other veterans and stuff, is that's a huge point. A lot of people won't talk with me about it, because what are you going to talk to me about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you guys have come from a relationship from start to finish in a bonding group setting. You guys did it all overseas together. You guys, and then you came home and it was a complete separation. So now something like an organization like this, where I think is very important for some of these veterans, and is getting that group back together, and being able to help work together.
So where the share happens, and this is the important part. This is like the behind the scenes. Yeah, we got all these flashy trips and hunting and then fishing, and that's where we get the draw in, and maybe trying to get them out of their basement. Or I just use that as an example.
Of course.
But the draw after that, and where it's for us, I think, me and you, Dave, is you're sitting in an Airbnb, like log cabin up in Maine, or you're sitting around at the end of the day or the end of the hunt, and you're chopping it up and you're talking with the guys, and you're sitting there with the vets and they're sharing their story. That's when they share their stories. I feel like
that's the best time.
Or you're around a campfire in the middle of the North Maine woods, man, and it's just you guys. and you all went on a hunt, a bear hunt or whatever, and at the end of the day you come back, you talk about the hunt a little bit, but then it starts flowing into like, oh, I had this to deal with my family, or my wife thought this, or like, and then you're like, dude, my wife thought this. And I was like, and then it just starts flowing, and then after that people start talking about it.
It's
Be surprised.
You feel like you're alone. You feel like you're not going to be understood.
People start talking about their experiences and everything. So,
and when you have somebody you can look at, and I mean, you know too.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you can look at somebody and know they understand, there's a comfort level there. You know what I mean? There's a complete, like, oh, I can let my fucking guard down.
Right.
You know, excuse my language.
No, this is explicit podcast, so you're
Perfect.
good.
Excuse my
Whatever
language.
you need to say.
Full send.
We're
Yes.
men.
And that's a perfect example. I mean, even here, for instance, we walked up, we met, we talked for 2 or 3 minutes, figured out who each other was, and from that point on,
Yeah.
dude, we chopped it up the whole time.
Yeah,
I've been looking for you every night.
Right.
yeah, we've
at
had
the end of the show.
Great time, because I mean, it's one of those things. I can say something, and you'll laugh because you'll get it, and
Right.
you'll look at us like we're stupid.
Well, we're fucking crazy.
No, it's
You
not
know.
stupid, but it's and I understand it because being around
Yeah, you're
military
around
people.
a lot.
But it's just the civilians. A lot of people don't understand it. I've made myself understand it. I like to hear those stories. I like to hear, and a lot of military people don't like the fact that I want to know that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just a weird, curious person, and I like to hear that because
I love it, though.
I feel,
I like it too.
I mean, it's even sitting here
You
right
get
now, we're
involved
not
to
even
understand,
talking.
to
Yeah,
be able to help as a non-veteran.
and the other thing too, man, is I have a lot of close friends that went to Fallujah, went to a lot of these places, and I mean, sometimes I bring an extra bottle just to get them to talk because I want to hear that shit, man. Because me being on the soil here and not seeing that, I mean, you feel fucking kind of lost. You're like, well, I wish I fucking went.
Yeah.
You really do, honestly. And to hear those stories and the shit that people went through, man, like I want to be there to help those people. You know what I'm saying? Like veterans reach out. You know what I'm saying? I'll help. And it's an amazing thing, dude. It really, truly, honestly is.
It's great too, Trevor, because like you actually listen and you actually remember. Like shit, I don't know. Day told you what the first day we met that you were serving Fallujah, and you still remember that.
You just remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And that little shit like that, and just what you pay attention to, we actually like you care,
Right.
And we can
know
tell
it.
Right.
We can tell.
It's just the thing.
And that's one other thing I did want to point out is you're both veterans, right?
That's right.
U.S.
Where
Marine
were you
Corps.
guys at?
You were
So-
both Marine Corps?
Oh,
yeah.
And it was
Before
funny.
you guys
So
leave, I've got a box of crayons for you.
I was just gonna say,
I knew that one was coming.
It
We
was coming.
discussed this all day.
I work with a Marine, so we always talk about it. I ask them, and I'll ask you guys, what is your favorite color
Green
crayon?
flavor.
Everybody says fucking green.
Purple, man.
You're a purple guy?
I like when I think of purple, I think of grape, and I'm
think of
like,
grape.
give me that grape.
How much time did you spend blue side on the ships?
So we didn't stay blue.
No.
We were never blue. I was 29 Palms. I was in the Mojave Desert.
So where did purple come from?
I don't know,
I didn't
man.
know they served that flavor
like
out there in
I
the
used to
desert.
think of purple like when I was a kid, like eating, the grape flavor stuff, man. Everything was purple, and it wasn't even like that's not even a grape color, man. But everything was like grape. And that's where I was like, all right, purple or violet or whatever Crayola wants to fucking call
Were
it.
you infantry?
Yes.
It's a green thing. I knew it. I could call
But I'm
that from a
infantry
million
too,
days.
man.
Oh, are you? Well, you're just a weird infantry guy.
And here's a funny story. So like, I'll
Did you stay in the back lines?
He's
No.
colorblind.
The problem with me, I was too much frontline. Probably got my eyes crossed, my head.
So you're
my
actually
bell rung a
colorblind?
couple times. Maybe I got my bell rung a couple times.
You're
and I was
actually
like,
colorblind, and you
I went for the green, but it was purple or something.
I could foresee that. I could definitely foresee that. No.
Great.
There's a funny story though, like real quick.
Yeah.
Dave.
We're here to tell stories if you didn't know.
Yeah,
That's-
Dave.
no.
Yeah. Dave signed up for this trip, man, and now like me and Dave are like best friends, man. We both served in the same time, same theater, and same operating area in Fallujah, and we never even knew each other.
Never saw each other.
Western Mass, Western Mass, and then he signed up for a deer camp. And when I have my deer camp, it's a self-guided. So I have a couple guys. We put up all our own tree stands, all our own stuff for just the deer camp. It's a lot of work, man, because we bring 10 to 12 guys out.
Wow.
And we got 3,000 acres now. We didn't, but when we started. But Dave signed up for that, and he sat there, and I give a brief in the beginning and stuff, and like what we're all about, and kind of like this, like we sit around the fire and
Try to figure each other out.
Yeah, and they're all crying by the end, man, and it was like. Dave kept saying, thank you for this, man. Thank you for this. And it really hit home. And then you start talking to him and you find out, dude, I was right I was like, I was your neighbor pretty much in Iraq, you know? Like literally, like, oh, you were a couple streets up.
Dude, and when we talked about earlier, being able to talk about certain things and places and having that connection, like, I can look at Nate anytime and know he knows exactly what dude, I'm not going to tell the story, but there's something happened yesterday, and we both got kind of irritated, and we just looked at each other like, okay, this is happening.
But I already knew what he was thinking. So. Wow. It's just, I don't know. It's cool, man. And that just little connections like that. And he makes connections on trips, and like everybody kind of just stays in touch, man. Or like we have a Facebook, but we also have a Facebook group. So like people have been on stuff are part of that, and people that want to just like our group.
That's right.
And you know what? We throw up stupid military shit, man. Jokes, but we also throw up event advertisements and stuff. But we throw up jokes and stupid military like innuendos and stuff like that. And it's just a fun like thing and get people involved, you know?
So my question is, obviously we're at an outdoor show. We're an outdoor podcast. What did putting the outdoors in it, because obviously military, what makes it, I guess, what drives it to be an outdoor thing? Like why take them hunting? Why take them fishing? Why take them camping? Why take them hiking? Why outdoors?
Question. So this was my this goes back to the mission, like where we started. So I got back from Iraq, and I was in a dark place, man, real dark place. I started picking up bow hunting, and I started shooting a bow, and then I shot a bow for over a year before I even went hunting because I wanted to make sure I was proficient. And then I sat in a tree, or I was walking in the woods, and like that is where I didn't go. Now I might be like a weirdo, but I didn't go to VA for counseling. I didn't believe. I was like, I'm not going to tell this freaking doctor who's never seen shit in his life.
100%.
Like I'm not going to share my feelings with this guy because he's not going to know where the fuck I'm coming from.
Well, the other thing I hear from a lot of military friends is the VAs just pump you with medicine, and they there's no heal. There's no heal to it at that point.
Right. So I am a big fan of self-healing and no medicate, like anything kind of psychomed, none of that. I'll keep it out. My hardest drug, buddy, is a Motrin. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I call them Skittles, but 800 milligram tabs. And
even then, half the time it's like, can I get through without it?
Right.
I'm the same way. Right. I don't like drugs in my body. And
so what I did and what I found, like like I said, when I say real dark, like I can share this, but like I thought about suicide. Like I got back, I was like, man, these people are just going about their lives. They have no clue what the fuck is going on. And it was there, man. And the woods saved me. And I bring this up at the Boston bow hunter thing too. The woods, when I sit in a tree and I watch nature unfold in front of my eyes and I just look around and I have peace, that was my Zen moment. And I was like, if this works for me and I'm stubborn as fuck, it's got to work for other people too. And like I'm out fishing on a boat, or I'm catching fish and it's just me out there. It's like no one else on the water, this calm. It's all about, I feel like, calm, and I feel like nature is got some healing powers that we still don't understand.
Those hairs on the back of your neck set down.
Yep. And it's unreal, and that's part of that mission, man. That's why we chose the outdoors atmosphere to do this.
I also think, like, you can agree with this too. You guys can too. But like, as a military guy, there's a lot of attention to detail, and a lot of like, there's little things you need to be doing every single day.
Yes.
You know, every day, little things, to the measurements of the rolls of your sleeves.
Marines more often.
You know, they're more picky than anything else. But like, you get out there and you really have to remember a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into hunting, and that's my favorite part, is that I have something to take the bullshit that's going on here and just put it to the side for those few hours that I'm out there. You know what I mean? Or that day that I'm out there, or the week that I'm out there. It's therapy, man. It really fucking is.
Well, one of the things that when we had talked on the first day, you were talking about how it's that chess game to you. That same thing that you had felt at war was the same that you had brought here.
I can't believe you remembered that. That's fucking awesome.
I told you, man.
That's awesome.
No, but and I think that it instilled in me, because you were talking about how you were able to relate the outdoors to what you had done, and it was that same thing that you had been used to for such a long period of time,
and it just brings back comfort, you know. And I also think bow hunting was my next big process into hunting, because like I always muzzle loaded, I always, you know, that kind of thing, hunting, and I got out of it because I was like, man, why do I want to go shoot something? You know, why do I want to go out there? It was easy to do overseas, man. You know,
that's what I found too.
This is just as easy to do kill an animal here. You know what I mean? It doesn't give me the thrill. So like switching to the bow, it's a learning curve. It's
nothing against the rifle and muzzleloader hunters or anything. I love hunting season, but I mean, when I shot I had one of my first big buck. I shot it with a shotgun, and I was like,
that's it.
Well, that was easy. Like not easy, but you know what I mean. Like that wasn't.
There's not that challenge. You're used to that challenge.
I wasn't
challenge.
like up close and personal. I didn't see the deer blink. Like I didn't watch it breathe. I didn't watch it creep around trees. And
that's the sick, twisted part of you.
Yes.
No, just kidding.
But I didn't have that connection.
Right.
I didn't have that closeness to nature or being close to big game. You know, like anybody. I mean.
Dude,
anybody can sit in the field and just let a 308 rip, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I think like even for people who haven't even shot a bow yet, I think go try a bow, man.
Right.
I think the rush and the skill, the fine-tuned skill that it takes, is awesome.
Going to that, a big part of archery and why it helps people like us is when you start shooting a bow, your groups are 12 inches.
Right.
And then when you tinker and you fiddle and you practice and you see that group comes in, and then when you have those 3 arrows touching, I mean, each step is a progressive step you noticeably can acknowledge.
Right.
And when you get there, it's that sense of achievement. That task knocked out. Right. What's next?
Right.
Going back and to go on top of you there is, dude, when you're shooting a bow, that's all you're doing, man. Shooting a bow, you walk up, grab your arrows. You got that time to just like clear your head. You walk back, shoot some more arrows. You don't. I mean, I don't get that from shooting a rifle. Like don't get me wrong, man. I love blasting rounds.
100%.
I love blowing shit up.
That's just part of the game.
I'll put some time. I mean, shit. We go to Maine, man. I buy gallons of tannerite.
Hell yeah.
Blow up trees, and dude, I love it. Right? Blow up beaver dams. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You're American,
Pond
bro. You can do whatever you want.
Nuisance beaver dam. Nuisance beaver dam. But no, like finding that peace and that zen again. Just shooting a bow, man.
Yeah.
Walking up, walking back. Like you got time to think. Just kind of just flush it all out, and it's cool.
So as far as New England Adventures goes, at what point for you was like that I made it moment? Like that you were on a hunt or a group and you being president, and you're like, this is what I need to do. This is my give back to these people that are there.
So, I mean, like. From the beginning, my aha moment was this works, being in the tree, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was a struggle to get to where we are today. We've been around 8 years. And like I said, the first 3, usually a nonprofit fails within the first year or 2, just under tank. And when we started getting recognized by Cabela's and recognized by like Movement Mortgage and all these bigger companies, that was when I was like, people know what we're doing, people see what we're doing, and this is like something real. Like,
and we made it.
Yeah. And all of us, you know, we're all volunteers. You know, we just do it because we love it and we love the outdoors. And I feel like what differentiates us is we just require an honorable discharge. We don't require a disability like Wounded Warrior. And I feel that a majority of our money is spent for the veteran.
It is.
You know? Almost all of it.
Well, that's a big part. And that's where a lot of the veteran groups, especially the ones that fail, they miss out on the aspect that when you bring the money in, the more you give back, the better you do.
Right.
Like, for the mission. Like, so my signature always has for the mission. And it's my name. And that's been our motto. And I live by that because, like, I'm 100%. He's 100%. Like, we have stuff to do. Yeah, but we also do this, man. And taking that money to put it elsewhere just is like stupid to me.
Stupid.
I want what people donate. That's why Boston Bowhunter donates to so much is they know and they see online and they see on Facebook exactly where that goes. Like they can see it happen in front of their eyes.
Absolutely.
And they know where all that money's going. It ain't being tinkered around. It ain't paying retirement. It ain't paying pensions. You know, it's not doing any of that. It's going right to the veterans, which is And like I said, so the aha moment was like when the bigger people started recognizing us, and I had to do less back-breaking fundraiser work and more concentration on the mission work.
So what is kind of the future of New England Adventures?
So we were talking about this on the drive up here. So what we would like to have is a piece of land and a lodge, and bring a bunch of guys in for different events throughout the year. And have an operating space where they can just come and hang out if they want, right? Or they want to take a couple days off from their life, come and hang out at the lodge. And I think that's the next step, obviously, with us.
I think it's amazing.
I think having a little piece of property, you know, and I mean, we don't have to raise pheasants and stuff, but we could stock pheasant and have
just a piece of heaven,
have a centralized location for them to come. We can still do our fishing trips and stuff like that, you know, but have that one space, like a New England Ventures Lodge or something. And that's been rolling around in my head for a couple of years.
I think it's beautiful because you can take guys that, you know, they're out and about or they have a real bad day. You know, they need to just get away from whatever the problem is for the weekend, and they can, hey guys, can I come up?
Right.
Sure. Let's shoot some targets. Let's hang out. Let's just get away.
Right.
And like I'd be crazy. I'd build a freaking pond. Stock it with large. Hey, just go cast off the bank, bud, and hang out.
But could you imagine what that could do for somebody?
Save their life. Save their life. Save their life.
So there's I had a situation happen where a friend of mine had reached out. They were doing a sporting clay event and they were trying to somebody had donated a bunch of money to take one veteran to go to the sporting clay event. And I had a gentleman that came out fishing, and the reason he was out fishing was he had found us and just needed some type of avenue to get out. And he was actually, I think he was an airplane or a helicopter pilot overseas, and he was on the verge, man. He was not doing fucking good at all, and we kind of opened because my personality, I can get someone to semi-open up to have a conversation, right? Yeah. Whether it's good, bad, or evil. And so he had mentioned something to me, and there was a couple of things that had ticked in my head. And so somebody had reached out to me and said, hey, Trev, I know you know a lot of people. Do you know a veteran that may need some help to potentially come to this sporting clay event? And the first person I clicked to was this person. So I had gotten a hold of my captain, and we have the contact information. And we got him to go to that, and he called me and he's like, hey man, you know, like I owe you lunch. And I was like, no, you don't owe me lunch. Yeah. I go, you don't. I said, you just owe me to come out fishing again, bro. Like it's not anything more than that. Like you don't need that, but you don't realize it until it actually fucking happens. Mm-hmm. That's the scary part. Like it's, and going back to what I was saying is that there's a lot of people that you don't even know that they're there, that there's small telltale signs in these people that or these veterans that have this stuff going on, and you don't even know it, and you could they could be right next to you. Right. It could be an everyday thing. And so it's and the reason I'm saying this, and so listeners can hear this, if they have friends that are veterans, just pay to those telltale signs.
Pay attention.
Because it could be something, and I don't want to go negative, but it could be a bad thing, right? So just pay attention to that, and try and get them into organizations with New England Adventures or some of these other. There's a ton of them out there that are good places to go, and they need more places like this.
Especially nowadays, there's tons of stuff out there for guys. You know, tons and tons. And to go on top, like, you don't know how many emails and letters, handwritten letters, and voicemails. I have voicemails on my phone. I don't know how to play them, but literally, I needed this trip. Thank you so much. I was in a real dark play. I'll play them for you when we get offline. But stuff like that, man, and it hits, and it hits hard. A couple years ago, we had a guy in his basement for 5 years. That's why I said that. 5 years. Didn't come out, never left. Had a service dog, but never left his house. Right? Stayed in his basement. He's like, oh, whatever. I'll try this. I haven't been hunting in a while. I applied for a bear hunt. Made the bear hunt. And then now he comes out with his service dog, hangs just to come. And like, if say we're out here, he's coming today to visit us because we're here. And he knows we're here. He sees us on Facebook now and stuff. And he's going to bring his dog, and he drives with his dog and comes up and just comes and talks to us. Awesome.
It's a community.
And you know what? Like, and now he signs up for a deer camp, and he signs up to help, not because he wants to go hunt. because he wants to come and hang out with these other vets that are coming, that are new to the organization, right?
He knows it's a
and
place
now
he
he's
can
like,
sit and-
he's got his comfort, he's got his zen, he gets out of the house.
Right.
It's unreal, man. It's giving me goosebumps right now.
Yeah, I can see. What are the avenues that you use to try and connect with some of these guys?
So I'm myself. Dave's himself. Like I tell stories.
I'm saying to like get them to be part to get even to know who New England Adventure is.
So Instagram.
Yeah, so we are New England Adventures
websites.
01, Facebook and Instagram, and that's been our primary outreach.
Okay.
That's been how we tried and get the word out from the beginning was Facebook. We just started Instagram. I just bought a GoPro. Cause videos are huge now. So I want to start, Instagram, more videos on Instagram. And I want to start, a YouTube channel. Cool. It's just, you guys know it's a lot like editing and stuff like that. And like, that's not my cup of tea. I have an IT lady who runs our website, she's a godsend. She's from Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And she donates her time, and she donates her server for us, and I think that's rad too. Because otherwise, like we have such an interactive, easy application process on our website. Mm-hmm. Literally, upload your DD-214. People in the military will know what I'm talking about. All we want is honorable discharge, or if you're a current service member, just take a picture of your ID real quick
and send it.
That's awesome. We don't save it. We fucking get rid of it. But as soon as it's submitted, you get in a database that, hey, proof of service is verified. And then you're good, man.
That's awesome.
We try to make it as easy as possible. And
that's one other thing. And I do say it differentiates you guys from a lot of the others I've seen and worked with in the past is it's not we want you because you're wounded. You got to have percentages. I don't care if you're a Vietnam vet.
Right.
Hey, you served, check the box, come hang out.
We had a World War II vet at deer camp last year. Just came and hung out.
That's awesome.
I think he went out once for like 2 hours, but he wasn't about it, man. You know what he was about? The camaraderie, the camp food. We treat our guys well.
Well, he's used to that camaraderie in that group. Like I said, going back to it, they're used to at war. Where are you at? You are with your
boys.
And that's one thing I've ran into a lot, especially with the older generations and the different vets from different wars, is like the few World War II guys we have left love nothing more than to sit down and hear the stories of what did you guys see. Mm-hmm. And it was like this for us. We didn't have this and this.
Right.
So hearing how it's changed, but it's still
the same.
Difficult.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And not to go dark, but like, dude, that's huge for him because he knows like his memory or his legacy, and he just told someone else. And like now that you'll carry that for your life. Right, remembering what he said.
Right,
and like I feel like once we get that age, it's gonna be the same way, man. Like
it could we're literally
gonna die, and then we're gonna be wiped off, and like Fallujah's not even gonna exist. And you know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine? And all the things that you went through, Fallujah is just gone.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
For nothing.
And that's the crazy thing. Like so, last year I lost my grandpa. He was a ball turret gunner in a B-17.
Sorry, man.
And greatest man in the world. But he never really, he would tell the fun parts of, he was in Germany for 4 years straight. But he never talked about, the flights, the bombing runs, because everyone knows the B-17 bombing runs were, you had a 1 in 10 chance you were dead that day.
Yep.
And being the ball turret gunner, your odds were significantly worse. And when I came home from the war, we could sit down and, we'd go for a drive and go spot elk and things like that. And he would be like, yeah, I remember this one run. We had flak everywhere. There was this and that. Had flak, got pinned in the turret. I ended up having to use the emergency escape just to get back in. My buddy's landing gear didn't come down, and they didn't know if they could get him out of the turret, and things like that. And no one else in the family had ever heard these stories. But you don't even have to say it. It's not a can we talk about it. It just flows.
Yep,
it just happens.
Well, boys, I always ask this question, and I think it's a very important question to at least this podcast, and we always end with it, but I think you guys will have something a little bit special to share to it, is what drives you outdoors? What drives you? Not your car, not your truck, I want to know what drives you. You deep down inside, what drives you outdoors?
That's a good question. It's a good question. It's a hard question. For me, I'm probably the same as Nate. It's the serenity. It's the peace. It's the ability to see things that nobody else gets to see. You know, I spent one day in a tree last year, and you see 2 moose, 2 bear, coyote, and 15 deer, and you're like, that doesn't happen to anybody. You know what I mean? Like that, those kinds of things. So that for me, having the ability to get close to animals, put my hands on them. I respect every animal. I really do. I love animals, but like, there's nothing like feeling like you did your job when you actually kill something. And I mean that. Like, you feel like everything that you put together in your head, this plan that you had, you just played out, and you feel successful. You feel good about yourself again, you know? And for me, that's what it is. I like to feel good about myself because I don't a lot of the time, you know? And this organization, again, is another thing that's just is completely changed my life in terms of the type of friends I have, people that I'm hanging out with, events that I'm doing, you know, like just volunteering is giving me the ability to go on and do things with these guys that I normally wouldn't ever fucking do, you know, or wouldn't have the ability to do. So yeah, I would say it's that.
Mine's kind of the same as Dave's. I don't have to kill anything. I don't have to do that. Like, I respect Mother Nature and everything she has to offer, from the plant to the ant to the animal, right? And I think a lot of outdoorsmen do that. And, you know, that's our creed. But I feel when I'm in the woods and I'm at peace, just like you, man, like, I have an owl just swoop right by me. Like, I'm just looking around. Like, I become one with the woods and one with, say, just even stupid, one with a tree. Like, you know, and I'm just there, and I'm just watching nature. I'm just the audience, man. And
you
I'm
get to be part of that world.
Right. It's unreal. Like, I can have squirrels crawl up me, you know, like it's just why it's awesome.
I bet that you
and that
too,
drives me every day.
I think that you two, like many other veterans, can really honestly deeply from the bottom of your heart mean that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think not that other people, because, like, all right, I'll be straight up, and this is something that me and Steve have talked about. That question, what drives you outdoors? Obviously, all of the people that answer that question, it's all relatively the same, right? I mean, in some type of variation, and when somebody like the two of you answer that question, it's really, truly, honestly, deeply from the heart, because it all could have been gone in a second. Right. So you then realize it when you're here. This is fucking heaven.
Gone, right. And on heaven, man. Gone in a second, and we're in chaos and hell on earth. Yeah. At war.
Literally. Which is,
we've seen the worst of what this planet can offer, and
in humanity,
I hate it.
Yeah,
and I want to get as far away from it as possible. Yep. And like, I'm not a big city guy, but hey, like, I want to get, and God bless these guys that hunt out in the suburbs and stuff. I want to get out, and I want to just be away. That's that Zen moment, man.
Yeah,
you know, and I just that's the true peace and serenity, because we've experienced chaos and hell.
I couldn't imagine.
It's constant.
Couldn't imagine.
And it hits home hard, man. And it's just,
you don't leave it there either.
It's a passion.
Oh no, it goes with you.
Come right
everywhere.
back home with you.
It's a passion, man, and that's what it is. That's what gets you, you know.
100%. Well, for everyone listening, where can they find you guys?
So you can find us on Facebook, New England Adventures. You can find us on Instagram, New England Adventures 01. Look for the Blue Mountains, and we have a website, www.newenglandadventures.org.
Fantastic.
Outstanding. That's easy enough. So everybody, make sure you get over there, check them out, follow along, and if you have the time and you're in the area, jump over there, volunteer, donate. These things, it saves lives, you know, and it's hard to explain until you've experienced it and see the power that it can do. So please help them out. Do everything you can to just keep this thing going. And until then, as always, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.